not yet, honey. Stuff that they may, we're going to talk about stuff that they may say is like uncomfortable in schools that you're not supposed to talk about. Definitely, we're gonna talk about something that you would say is uncomfortable or something you're not supposed to talk about at social gatherings, like a party or nothing. Because the stuff we're going to talk about in the next couple of days are things that cause arguments and fights. But since we're home and we're in our school and we're in our safe place, we can talk about it. And it's stuff that we have to talk about because it's affecting the entire world right now. Okay? That makes sense? You with me? Yes. Okay. What we're going to talk about today is the religion of Islam or Muslim. Now, as we're talking this, I do not have anything against Islam or Muslim or anything against the people at all. But something is weird going on and we need to talk about it. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get too well, let's see. Let's do this. Before we get too deep, because the video probably will turn off, let's watch this video real quick, and I want to show you something. Something about Islam is reversing the culture and the rules and the social standings of the world back. Did it go back? Okay. Back by thousands of years. It's reversing the whole social structure of the world by thousands of years. So as detectives, when we're looking at it, you got to ask yourself, why? Is it for the better of society or is it for the worse of society? Or is there something weird going on? That's all we're doing is we're asking, what's going on? Is the society advancing forward or are we going drastically backward? Okay, so we're going to watch it's a very short video, but it's going to show you how women dressed in Arab countries before Islam and what their traditional dressing is in Islam, in Muslim countries before, and how they dress in Muslim countries now. Okay. Let me show you this picture too. This is in all the Muslim countries how the women used to dress. This is what their traditional dress is in their countries. This is India, India, Bosnia, Bosnia. Just look at that. And the reason we're talking about that is now Islam is spreading like wildfire in Sweden, in France, in England, in Germany, in all Italy, all these European countries, and in the United States. Remember how we said something happens slowly, little by little, bit by bit, where you can accept it and then eventually it spreads like wildfire and you can't control it? There are cities in Minnesota That's it. It's 100% Islam. The police are Muslim, the mayor, the governor, everything is Muslim, and everybody dresses like that. All the women, I mean. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Why is the world trying to reverse thousands of years? Even in the times of Jesus, people didn't dress like that. That was 2,000 years ago. What's going on, right? Something weird is going on, and we're going to go over some of the rules, the laws of Islam, and we're going to try to understand it. There is the set of rules of Islam. They're called Sharia laws. You ever hear that word before?
Nope.
No? Okay. On Facebook, you should see it. Okay, but their laws are Sharia laws. And every place they invade or infiltrate, they want to force Sharia laws, not the laws of the place that they come into. In Minnesota, where they have lots of communities, lots of cities, they want to convert the whole city and the whole state to Sharia laws, not the laws of the United States, but the Sharia laws. And when we go over the Sharia laws, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Okay. One of the first Sharia laws one of the first ones is Muslims are allowed to lie to non-Muslims to advance Muslim or Islam. So that's why you see on Facebook and TV gays and transgenders protesting, we love Palestine, we love Islam, we love Muslims, because the Muslims are allowed to lie to them to advance the process of Muslims. Muslims hate gays. You'll see in one of the laws of Islam, one of the Sharia laws is if you're homosexual or transgender, the penalty is death. You die. In their countries, all those countries, if you're gay or transgender, immediate death, right there on the street, no trial, they cut your head off right then on the street. But in this country and in the other countries, Sweden, France, Italy, Germany, they're allowed to lie to non-Muslims to get you to believe that they love you and that Islam is the way to go. Until they totally infiltrate, then they can expose themselves and say, this is our real laws. Okay? So we're gonna talk about this today. Even though it's a difficult topic, it needs to be talked about because you need to understand when your country is being invaded and infiltrated by something not cool. That makes sense? Is there any questions so far? Okay. Right now, Islam started in the year 631. So it was after Jesus, but in the year 631, Islam started. We're not going to talk about how it started and all that stuff. We're just going to talk about where it's at today, because the history of it doesn't it's not important to us. The importance of it is what it's doing today. Why are Muslims right now, Islam, moving from their countries to European countries and to the United States today? If Islam is so great and Muslims are so great, why don't they stay in their own countries? Why is it moving to the United States, to France, Germany, Sweden, all through Europe? Why is it moving through all those countries, and why is it spreading to the United States? Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. One of the reasons it's spreading to the United States is because there are Christians in the United States. One of the reasons it's going to France, to England, to Germany, because there's Christians there. What's so good about Christians? Christians are generous. They give. They're caring. If you come into their countries or into their home, they're the kind of people who will give to charity, who will take care of you. Does that make sense? Mm. Christianity donates to all other religions. Christianity is the religion of love. It's the religion of Jesus, and Jesus teaches us to give to everybody, to love everybody, even the ones that you don't agree with. Does that make sense? Yeah. So Christians give charity to Muslims, to Jews, to Hindus, to atheists. They give charity to everybody. They help everybody out. You know who Muslims give charity to? Nobody. Muslims give charity to nobody. They don't believe in charity. They don't believe in helping everybody out. They don't believe in helping each other out. The only ones they may help out are other Muslims, but they give to nobody else but themselves. Okay? So, let's talk about this. One of the problems, again, not that I have anything against Muslims or Islam, but when people come and they try to force their beliefs on you, that's when we have a problem. Same thing with gay people. We have nothing against gays or anybody. But when they come up to you and say, I'm gay, I want you to be gay too, and I want you to accept gayism as a rule, as everyone's going to be gay. You're like, no, I don't get it. I don't want to be that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when Muslims or Islam stays in their own country and they want to follow their Sharia laws and they want to do what they want to do, that's fine. Do that. We don't care. But now they're coming here and they're trying to force us to believe the way they believe. Now we got a problem. Why? Because their beliefs are 100% opposite of our beliefs, which you'll see in a little while. So when they try to force their beliefs on you and their beliefs are completely opposite of your beliefs, now we got a problem. Does that make sense? Alex, you with me? Yeah. Okay. What about this? What about, we talk about once in a while Satanism. Satanism is the worship of Satan, right? Of Lucifer, of Satan. One of the reasons Christians and Satanists can't get along is because the beliefs are 100% different, right? Yeah. Satanists believe that they can kill children and babies and sacrifice them to Satan. And that is probably the most opposite, furthest from Christianity that you could get, right? Yeah. So we can't live in the same society together because we have opposite beliefs. And they don't kill their own kids. They might kill their own kids, but they try to kidnap the Christian kids to sacrifice them to Satan. And we can't agree with that. Excuse me. So when you have different cultures that are tried to be forced together and their beliefs are so opposite, what's going to happen? Wars are going to start. Trouble is going to begin. Riots are going to begin. Like the thing we talked about yesterday with the black and the white. When some people are saying the blacks are entitled to all free stuff and the whites have to work their ass off to make the money to give the free stuff to the blacks, what does it do? It causes an unbalance in society, an opposite effect of beliefs. And you cause one party to fight with the other party. And ultimately, that's what the triangle people want. They don't care about the beliefs. They want one side to fight with the other side. Right? So, let's talk about Islam and why they're moving to European countries. In Islam, in Muslim religion, 100% of the women, all of the women, 100% of them do not work. They're not allowed to work. 100% of them do not work in Islam. And that's by Islam law, by Sharia law. They're not allowed to work. Each Muslim woman has on average 5 kids. Some have more than 10 kids. So they're allowed to have as many kids as you want. Just make the kids. So now, if the women do not work, where does the money come from to feed the kids? If you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, you don't work, and you have 10 kids, how do you feed them? How do you pay the rent? How do you pay the electricity? Welfare. Why do they move to welfare? Why do they move to Christian countries? Christian countries are generous. They take care of the old, the sick, the unable to work, the poor. They have welfare systems to take care of them. Why are Muslims infiltrating the United States? Welfare. Free food, free electricity, free rent, free insurance, free school, free healthcare, free college, free everything. That's why they've infiltrated the whole world, because Christian countries will give them everything. But the problem is 100% of the women don't work. They have 5 to 12, 15 kids. Another important thing too is to know is that 65% of the Muslim men also don't work. Does that make sense? 65% of the men don't work. Where are they getting their money from? Welfare. They're just taking it from the government. How long do you think a society can sustain itself if there is a huge amount of people, millions of people infiltrating it, having kids uncontrolled and sucking the life out of the welfare system? Does that make sense? Do you think that's a planned problem? That's what they're causing on purpose? The triangle people is doing that on purpose. Make a people who are a leech on society and then spread them around the world and let them suck all the money out of the government and out of the working class until they can't take it anymore. It's almost like we talked about Karl Marx and the socialism, social economic equality. This is forced Marxism, forced communism, where you bring in a people that by culture do not work and suck the life out of the population that's already there. So when I saw this stuff going on, when I read the rules of Sharia law, a red flag went up. This just sounds like a setup, a scam setup where a people have been created to suck the life out of the rest of the world. Okay. Now, let's do this. I'm going to pass this out to you guys. We're going to go over these. Okay. Ariana, let me give you this one. Okay. Did Ange get one? No. Okay. This is just, we're not going to read the whole article. All I want you to do is see on the first page here, it says Sharia, that's their laws. This is Islam laws. Sharia regulates public behavior, private behavior, and private beliefs. So their laws are how you're supposed to behave in public and in private, and how you're supposed to believe in public and private, okay? And these are the laws according to Sharia laws. This is according to their Quran, their Bible. Their Bible is called the Quran, okay? According to Sharia laws, theft is punishable by amputation of the hands. Now, years ago, when I heard about this, when I was a kid, I thought that's a good law. If you can't stop stealing from people, you shouldn't have hands if you can't stop stealing from people. But this is punishable without trial, without court, on the first offense. So what if you're hungry and you needed some bread for your mom to eat, and you took a loaf of bread? Guess what happened? You get both your hands cut off. No trial, no why did you do it? Both hands get cut off. No question. Okay? Second rule of Sharia law is criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death. So like when we're reading the Bible right now, we're questioning certain things. According to them, if you question the Quran in any way, it's a death penalty. And again, there's no trial, there's no court, right there on the spot. Did you guys see, there was a video on Facebook. There was a family, a Muslim family in Minnesota. And the Muslim girl, the whole family's Muslim. The girl decided she's becoming Americanized because she's in an American school and she's talking to other kids. She decided she didn't want to marry who her parents picked for her. She liked a boy in school. So she had a boyfriend in school. The parents found out that she had a boyfriend in school. The parents got so furious with her that she disobeyed the Muslim law, and they were going to kill her right there in front of their house in the street. The girl was screaming. The neighbors saw it. The neighbors stopped them. The neighbors called the police and stopped it. but they were going to kill her right there in the street for not obeying the house law. That was the punishment for disobeying your parents, death. They were going to kill her right there on the street for having a boyfriend that wasn't Muslim in school. Police finally came out. They stopped it and everything like that. But the parents sued the police station for not allowing them to kill their kid because according to Sharia law, they're allowed to do that. I don't know the results of it because it was Minnesota. As far as I know, Minnesota may have given up and say, hey, if that's their law, that's their law. The kid may be dead today. I don't know. But that was their argument. They didn't understand. That's what I'm saying before. You can't mix two horribly different cultures together. If they're there arguing, hey, we have the right to kill our kid, she's got a boyfriend, and the police are saying, you can't, that's against the law. They're saying, no. Sharia law says we can kill the kid. And the U.S. law says you can't. How do you reconcile that? Who's right, who's wrong? Who gets the win? If Minnesota becomes a 100% Muslim state, that girl's dead. Does that make sense? So, criticizing Muhammad, which is their Jesus, their prophet, criticizing Muhammad or denying that he is a prophet is punishable by death. Let's go to the next page. We'll skip that one because that's similar. A Muslim who becomes a non-Muslim is punishable by death. So if you're Muslim and all of a sudden you read the Bible and you say, hey, this story of Jesus sounds way better than Islam, and you convert from Muslim to Christianity, punishable by death. Again, no trial, no court, right in the street, cut your head off. There's a video online. If you don't want to watch it, it's horrible. But where a guy was mad, I think it was Saudi Arabia or something, or Qatar or something, where a guy was mad at his wife and he wanted a divorce. And he dragged her out of the car in the middle of the street, in the middle of the intersection. Police were all around him. He's yelling, I want a divorce in Arabic. The lady's screaming. The police are there watching. He takes out a sword and in the middle of the street, cuts her head off. No one stops him. Not arrested. Why? That's the law. He wants a divorce. He's mad at her. He gets to cut her head off. A non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam is punishable by death. So if you're a non-Muslim and you share the Bible with a Muslim, the punishment is death. A non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman is punishable by death. Homosexuality is punishable by death. This is a weird one. This one's weird. Homosexuality is punishable by death, but sodomizing boys is fine. So if you rape a boy and say you're not a homosexual, you don't die. But if you're openly homosexual, you die. What's that? So you're able to hurt people, but as long as you don't say you're homosexual, you get to live. I don't know. This one, girls, they're allowed to mutilate girls' sexual organs, and the reason for that is they want to mutilate them so that they can't have any pleasure during sex. They're not allowed to have pleasure during sex. We have to mutilate them so they can't feel it. Girls can be sodomized and raped raped after 8 years of age. That's one of their laws. You see what I'm saying? Why I'm having you guys read this? So when you see them doing that and they're like this, they're like, oh, we're trying to improve the world. We want to bring Sharia law to the world. I know what the Sharia laws are. Girls can be sodomized and raped after 8 years of age. That's their law. You know that right now, because Sweden took in so many Muslims that Sweden is now the rape capital of the world. More girls are raped in Sweden than any other country. Why? There are too many Muslim men there. And in their law, they're allowed to rape them. A woman or girl who has been raped cannot legally testify in court against your rapist. So even if you're a woman who got raped, you can't go to court and testify against your rapist. Testimonies of 4 male witnesses are required to prove rape on a female. You think the men who are Muslim are going to testify against their brothers? What would happen if a man testifies against his brothers on rape? What do you think is going to happen to the guy? Punishable by death. Do you think he's going to testify against his friends? No, because he's going to die. So if you're raped, you got to take it, because there's no punishment for rapists in Islam. A woman or girl who alleges rape without producing 4 male witnesses is guilty of adultery. So if you're a 9-year-old girl who got raped and 4 guys aren't there to testify that you were raped and you're not married, you've committed adultery. Guess what the penalty for adultery is in Islam, in Muslim? Death. So if you're a 9-year-old girl who was raped, you've committed adultery, and the penalty for that is death, because you got raped. What kind of a law is that? Does this make sense? You see why I'm having you look at this? A woman or girl found guilty of adultery is punishable by death. There, I got ahead of myself. But a woman or girl found guilty of adultery is punishable by death. So again, like a 9-year-old girl who is raped by a Muslim is committing adultery, even though she's been raped, and her penalty is death. So if a Muslim's on top of her, punching her in the face, raping her, she gets to die for her adultery. A male convicted of rape can have his conviction dismissed by marrying his victim. I don't even know what that is. So a male who's convicted of rape, if he likes the girl and wants to marry her, then he can. This is a bad one too. Muslim men have sexual rights to any woman or girl who is not wearing the hijab. What's the hijab?
Their clothing choice.
This. So if a girl is not wearing this, a Muslim man, has the right to grab her and rape her whenever he feels like it. What do the girls in Sweden dress like? Do they dress like this? No. They dress like Sweden girls. What do the girls in France dress like? What do the girls in the United States dress like? Like United States, like Sweden, like French girls. So Muslim law is, if a girl is walking down the street not wearing a tent, a hijab, Muslim law says they're allowed to grab her and rape her, according to their law. Doesn't that suck? What kind of ass law is that? Even in the time of Jesus, even in the time of Babylon, 5,000 years ago, there was no such laws like this. Where are we at? Here. A woman can have only one husband, but the husband can have up to 4 wives. Muhammad is allowed to have more wives. So a man can have 4 wives walking around like this with a hijab on. A man can beat his wife for insubordination. What's insubordination?
Not agreeing with you.
That's it. Not agreeing with me. Not obeying. If the man tells her to do something, clean the house, make some food, shut up, do what I tell you to do, and she doesn't, he's allowed to beat her up. A man can unilaterally divorce his wife, which unilaterally means one side. A man can just say, I divorce you. The woman, to divorce the husband, needs the husband's consent. So the husband has to give permission to the wife for divorce. The man can divorce her whenever he feels like it. A divorced wife loses custody of all her children over the age of 6. And when the kids past the age of 6, she loses custody of them too. Just that, unilaterally, no courts, no nothing. Your kids are 6, you don't have custody anymore. You're just a wife with no kids. We're going to skip down a couple. A woman cannot speak alone to a man who is not her husband or relative. Muslim teenager I'm sorry, teenager. Muslims should engage in taqiyya, whatever that is, which is they were able to lie to non-Muslims to advance Muslim. That's the first lie I told you. So Muslims are allowed to lie to non-Muslims to advance Islam. So when, like I said in the beginning, when Muslims go to protests in the United States and they make friends with transgenders and homosexuals, they're allowed to lie to them and say, oh yeah, we love transgenders and homosexuals. We're the party of love, or the people, we're the religion of love. They're allowed to lie like that to get the other side to help them. What other religion advocates for lying? Satanism. Satanism is the religion that allows for lying continually and hurting people and killing people. So this is a hard subject to talk about, but the problem is if you just watch on TV something happening and don't at some point step in and go, something's wrong, something's weird, then when it comes to your community, you'd be like, you know, oh, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to stir the pot. But if the whole world gets like this and the whole world switches to this law, the world will have gone back 20,000 years in history to a time of barbarianism. Does that make sense? Any questions, thoughts? What are your thoughts on those laws and rules, Ange? They're good laws? Should we have them? Should we do those laws? Should we go that way? No. They kind of suck, don't they? Yana? That's their laws. They kind of suck, don't they? Alex? Any thoughts? Again, the reason I want you to know this is because I'm piecing together a puzzle for you guys to understand what's going on in the world. Okay? This puzzle, some of the pieces of the puzzle are uncomfortable and bad, but when you figure out what the triangle people are doing, then the whole world makes sense. And when the world makes sense, then you know how to have an argument and you know how to have beliefs and thoughts. Because the problem is if you just say, I don't want to stir the pot, I'm just going to go along with the flow, eventually the world changes around you and all of a sudden you're not able to dress like you want. You're having to dress like this. You're not able to have talk, go to school, work, do anything. You just have to do what you're told. Not only by society and the government, but by your own family.